horror games is probably one of my favorites in the video game industry, but I will say one specific horror series that I have gotten into these past 5 years, actually more like 6 at this point, has been the Silent Hill series. Playing the first one, second one, and third one, and yes, still playing the fourth one, still stuck on that. But Silent Hill 2 has always remained my favorite in the series because of how the story and the way it was crafted and just the messaging in the story and the game itself. I thought it was really well done for a psychological horror game. And of course, we've had our Resident Evils, we've had our Fatal Frames, Siren, and of course, the indie industry popping out some really interesting horror games. But then comes the remakes. Resident Evil really kicked it off. Technically, I would say Final Fantasy VII started the whole, hey, let's go back and remake these classics. Then Capcom puts out Resident Evil 2, and then 3, and then 4. What does Konami do? You know what? Silent Hill 2 is one of the most popular games in that series. Let's remake that. And yes, they did, with the help of Bloober Team. So hello, welcome to this new Pop Culture Talk episode. Today I'm going to be reviewing Silent Hill 2, the remake. And whether or not I think it's better than the original, or is it just as good as the original? Does it improve a lot of the issues from the original, or is the original better? Well, let's go back to that foggy town of Silent Hill. So the plot is very faithful to the original game. There are minor changes, of course, just to make the game flow better and add nuance to the experience. Along with that, the same composer is back with his music, resonating that Silent Hill vibe, like before, baby. What I find interesting is that some of the same music from the original game is actually in this remake, so it returns, while some are slightly altered in this remake. And some, of course, are just newer versions of a song from the original. There's also newer music in here as well. I will say when it comes to the character of James, I do feel a little more sorry for him in this remake than the original. Don't get me wrong, his character was good for a Silent Hill story, but it never really hit it as well as Heather from Silent Hill 3. However, the remake version of James makes him more sympathetic. And I like that. You see his emotions, his grief, his sorrow, his concern of his surroundings. The other characters in the game have more depth to them, but the same plot for their characters still follow, like from the original version. Angela's part has more of an impact with her hell, I would say, compared to the original. The gameplay has been revamped. There's no more fixed camera angles like the original. It's literally a third-person viewpoint like Resident Evil 4, and to be honest, I'm fine with that. It adds something new to the game, and it makes it more fun when encountering your favorite guys like Pyramid Head. And of course, the other disgusting things you encounter in this game. Especially these guys, like, oh my gosh. And yes, no more tank controls. Running around and picking up items is very quick and simple. Exploring Silent Hill to find items around the area. You may run into some Easter eggs that are a little wink wink to the original game. Combat has really been revamped. While the original was very simple and clunky, at least when hitting enemies with a wooded weapon or pipe, here it's smooth. However, my gosh, the original was actually pretty easy to fight against these creatures and also optional. But now it's a challenge, and the combat is more intense, which you would have to learn how to navigate this new fighting mechanic against these creatures. Because my first time, I was caught off guard by the combat mechanics in this remake. Over time though, I did get the hang of it, but yes, combat is harder in the remake than in the original. It's also easier to track where you're at on the map instead of pausing just to see where you are and then jumping right back to the game, which James adds notes to the map to indicate certain things he needs to do. And I've got to say, like, The enemies from the original, while simple enough to beat, my gosh, this four-legged creature, extremely challenging. I mean, you're gonna get hurt a lot. That's what happened to me, including this thing too. So I do like that they add a little more challenge to the combat compared to how the original was for the time. All in all, I think they did a really good job with these new mechanics in the game. Though there is one little sneaky thing they do not tell you, like in the original game. While in the original game, yes, certain things would affect the ending. It was pretty easy to get the normal ending in the original, but even if you did certain things that could give you another ending, you still could get the normal ending no matter what, as long as you followed a certain path. Here, however, it's more challenging to get a normal ending that you want. I wanted to get the quote-unquote good ending, the leave ending, but the stuff I was doing, while one I was suspicious of, that it could read it as if I want my character to suffer, as in if you don't heal your character, which I had a problem healing my character my first playthrough because of healing items that I had to look for, and some were limited. In the end, I was correct about my suspicions because I got the water ending, but that wasn't the only thing. Doing other stuff can give you points on whether the ending will swing one way or the other way. It's quite interesting. Bashing a dead enemy on the ground constantly, that adds a point. Doing any little thing, checking items, adds a point to something. So be cautious of what you do. If you want a certain ending, go for it. If you're trying to get another type of ending, be careful. Now, of course, when it comes to replaying this game again, there are more endings, both from the original, but also Bloober Team added their own endings. So if you want to replay the game again, there you go. The puzzles in here, of course, you could change the difficulty, and that's also a plus, like in the original. I feel like I went through this game a little smoother than the original, because the original, to me, felt a little more difficult exploring around and stuff. While you still have to do that here, it was a little bit more smooth, but I think I had more of an issue with the hospital level, to be honest. I also think the voice acting here was superb. While some lines I think were better in the original, they're not bad here. The remake adds a lot of new features while keeping the story faithful. I know a lot of people had issues with Angela's character design, or at least her face, and I'm like, yeah, I think they could have stuck with a better design, but I guess, you know, the whole Sweet Baby Inc. issue, or hit detection, I would say, because they're in this game in the credits. Oh my god. So at this point, you probably know that Silent Hill 2 is one of my favorites in the series, and this remake actually did a really good job at keeping the story the same. Some things they changed here and there, yes. Some people may have some issues with it, but I didn't have that much of an issue with it. I like to go into a game that I've played, but when they remake it and they add new things to it, like I wish I could relive playing the remake of Resident Evil 4. I was blown away. I loved that game just as much as the original. And here it's kind of the same thing. It's respectful to the original source material. The story's pretty much the same, just added things here and there, but it also keeps things nice and smooth, and it flows nicely for a third-person perspective than the fixed camera angles that we had in the original. I really do think that Bloober Team did a really good job here. I also believe that they can pull off a horror game. A good one. This is one of them. Now, do I think it's better than the original? Well, kind of like with Resident Evil 4 Remake. Well, I'm just going to say it when it comes to how I rate this game. I'd say Silent Hill 2 Remake is just as good as the original Silent Hill 2. That is my rating for that. Just like Resident Evil 4 Remake, just as good as the original. They both are equally good. One's a classic. One is a reimagining of that classic, and I thought they did a good job here. And Pyramid Head, a lot of people miss that guy, comes back with all his glory. I would definitely try it out, just as good as the original. If you like the original, then you'll like this. If you liked the remakes of the Resident Evils, well, here's something else you will enjoy. If you like Silent Hill, And there's not really much else to say. I thought they did a good job here, and I'm looking forward to newer Silent Hill games down the road. Well, I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you like what you saw here, subscribe or follow me wherever you're watching. My favorite subject is horror when it comes to video games, and this is the right spot for it. Anyways, peace everybody, and stay spooky.